Welcome everybody, welcome to Rev Vision channel. We are back again with another episode. We have interesting questions for you guys. Please leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. Is community more important than the size and the beauty of your house?
And the reason why this came up because we saw a comment on a post that was made about some development that's going on in Liberia that we're going to talk about, in another video. However, though, it's just an interesting thing. Most people who are building back home we are all concerned about just your one house you're building.
Exactly.
Oh, you're building your house, how big is the house and stuff like that. And everybody is thinking about building a house and not so much community.
Yes.
I mean, let's start with you, your take on this, because let's just set the premises, right? Many people on this forum that we saw were saying that, let's say a $35,000 house in a good community that's surrounded by everything is way too expensive compared to you building your own house somewhere.
Yeah, so the person wrote, they said, well, I think it was, I don't know how many months, it was like 40,000 or 30,000 or whatever amount it was. Oh, that's way too much. You can get a 5-bedroom house for this instead of buying this 2-bedroom house for 30,000 or whatever amount it was. So, it's just, I was just thinking like, so I went more in details with them, just going through, inbox of him, and I was just asking him about who the engineer is. And so I asked him, I was like, so when this house is built, are there gonna be paved roads around my house?
Yeah.
Is everyone house around my house gonna look like my house? Is there gonna be a school,
we see that everywhere. Like, we go places, you see a huge mansion, and then like there's no road going there.
There's no, and you have a nice car, but your shocks and everything is destroyed just to get to your property. To me, it just don't make sense.
And people building around the property, zing houses,
they build anything. There's no code, code, building code, anything around your expensive property. So that's our question. What do you guys think? Do you think Liberia should focus more on
building communities
than just having people just build any kind of house? So
people building their own houses individually, because you build your house, and we see that all the time. Most people are doing projects. You're building your house in maybe somewhere way behind Johnsonville or Colwell, right? And I mean, it's probably going to take like 10 years before that area, or 10 to maybe 20 years before that area is developed.
Yep.
As far as, or if we all just come together and create a way where we can build a community where it's like there's standards of the house, each is a code, each house has to have a driveway, that should be paved road.
The biggest thing for my land and my development that I was doing was the separation of your house. The land is, you buy your lot or 2 lots or whatever, and someone else will start building right when yours. And so there's no gap between where a car can go or people can walk. So people's houses are close to each other.
Even the fence are almost touching each other.
Yeah. To me, that just doesn't make sense. So I don't know. It's just, I think it's a really good question. It's something that we need to explore.
And let's talk about also, because you mentioned too, while we were having a conversation before this video, like the value of these properties, right? You build your house, you spend $60,000. Okay, well, I want to build my own house. Maybe this house that's in this community, in the whole setup that we're going to talk about in the next video, is too expensive. I can use that same money and build a bigger house. Now, what about the value of the house? Same thing you mentioned, right? You build a big house, the road's not good. Somebody come and build a zing house around the area. There's no school nearby.
Nothing.
What do you think,
your house value goes down, because as that area develops, if we don't have the right people in there to develop that area, everything around it is going to be chaos.
Right.
There's going to be zing houses. There's going to be no roads. There's going to be pretty much anything. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, government is responsible for road," but that's not necessary. If you come together with a community, you guys can people can build their roads. That brings their property value up. So just going back and forth with the guy, I had to explain to him, and he's a smart guy. He's like, I understand what you're saying. Basically, if I paid this much to build this house, and then I don't know my neighbors, and they build anything around that house, I'm wasting money.
You're wasting money. At the end of the day, you're wasting money, because you can't control what other people are building. If you're building a community where everybody's on the same page, like, look, this area is going to be a really nice area. There's going to be roads, schools, like security, police, all of that stuff. If you buy a house that now for whatever people are claiming is more expensive, $35,000 for a 2-bedroom house, that house is gonna, when that community is done,
we're looking at
gonna be like
100,000, 150, probably more. you know, just probably more, especially if the community becomes like a business central where people are making money, you know, because you have like-minded people around you. So when you surround yourself with like-minded people,
right,
you know, you have an opportunity to make money because people understand where you're coming from. So
I mean, let's say, okay, so something like that is happening in Liberia right now,
yes,
right? That we'll talk about in the next video. However, though, just in general, I mean, so far it looks like it's working, but do you think, we Liberians, do you think that's something that can work in Liberia? Because it's a great question, because so far all the things we hear people talking about is individual. Oh, I can do this better. Oh, what you're doing, you know, I can get a bigger house, or I can get a better land, stuff like that. Do you think, I mean, something like this can happen in Liberia as far as a community-wise mindset of building?
I think in Liberia itself, with the people who live in Liberia, I mean, it's a possibility, but I think they're far away from it because you know it's tough to go into something that you don't know much about,
right?
You know, so growing up in the country, or everything that's happening that has happened in the country, I think it'll be tough. But if people from, you know, the diaspora was to go back, you know, set up forums, basically educate the people, just teach them about community, teach them how life would be easier if we all did this together, I think is a big possibility, and it's happening. You know, at least from what we know, is happening in Liberia right now. So,
yeah. So and that's the thing too. So I think, and that's exactly what this video is about. And we really need you guys' participation in the comment section, because should we focus on building individually? Because people are building, it's pretty spread out.
Yeah.
You know, you build here. And when we we're going around looking for land, you see somebody's house is almost completed, but it's like way in the bush.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there.
And then and every time we're driving, it's like, oh, that's a nice property.
Okay.
And then we drive 4 miles, oh, that's a nice property. But can you imagine if all those properties every 4 miles was in the same area?
Right.
How beautiful that community would be. You know, and you know, it's not something that's impossible, because it's happening in other African countries.
Right.
You know, traveling to Ghana, Nigeria, and those other places, they're doing it. You know, but it's just, we seen that one community you saw.
Yeah. Look at that.
In Liberia.
And I'll post the video in here.
That's one that they're doing. So it's not that it's not happening in Liberia, it is.
Man, so, and that's the thing, and another thing that falls in the community is, because we talked about it in another video, right, as far as, okay, you know, and somebody commented on the post saying, oh, how can we tell somebody what to build and stuff like that, you know. So another thing that falls in the community is what people are building in certain areas.
Yeah.
You know, the question also posed to you guys is like, should anybody be allowed to just build anything anywhere, as far as, because nobody wants to offend somebody and say, oh, you can't build this type of things here. Should we just leave it open where you can build anything anywhere, right? Where you can go into a community, you say, okay, you know what? I like this area. There's a lot of nice houses, but I don't have the money to build this kind of house. I'm just going to put anything down.
Yeah, no, I think that should not. I think that shouldn't happen, and they should hold the people who's selling the land accountable. You know, I'm not saying government should go in and tell people what to do, but at least put some form of guidelines. Like, you know, if you're gonna sell your land, there should be some kind of code on how it should look.
Right.
If you want the country to look good, you know, because we can't just, I don't know, just driving through Liberia. The place is beautiful, the landscape is beautiful, but it's just the way they built the houses. It's just.
What about just people having like a community, right? Like, for instance, like a committee in the area.
Committee, yeah.
Where it's like almost, because, you know, here in the States and other countries, they have like what, HOA housing thing, right? Where it's like just standards and people pay money into it. As far as, like, for instance, that could contribute to the role in the area.
Yeah, and Liberia, they have this community chairmen in each community, you know, so that could be something most of these community chairmen, I mean, if they're really serious about developing Liberia, should look into. Just start changing things around. Just going around talking to the people, say, hey, you know, let's try to build this road here that leads into the city or whatever else, you know, just separate the homes a little bit. You know, cars can drive through it. You know, I know it takes money and then it's a low income country, but, you know, with time and effort, anything is possible, in my opinion, so.
Because think about it though, driving down to places. Certain places we go is just it's so reluctant to go there.
Yeah.
Because before you get there, man, the roads are so bad. And it comes back into this same topic we're talking about community. Can those people who live in that area come together and just build a nice road that goes straight down, that kind of gets you at least closer to everybody's houses, where at least you have a better road? Or, I mean, I know everybody's relying on government, like, so it ties into individual versus government versus community.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Liberia needs to just focus on a private sector, I think, because I mean,
and that's
we know the
everywhere.
government. Yeah, well, that's how most countries develop. But Liberia needs, that's what I'm saying, people from the diaspora needs to go back and basically educate. Just
But
educate
that's
people.
the thing, but that's the thing too, though. Like, we know, like, people from diaspora going trying to educate. You know how that is.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough because first of all, they think, oh, I don't know, but that's a different topic. But you know, coming back and they're like, oh, you think you know all, think you know too much.
Yeah, all
you know,
the
you come here. Whatever you're about to say is not gonna work.
Yeah, you come
we
from America.
live here. You come from America. You think you know this and stuff like that.
The biggest thing is this is like that one working.
And that happens everywhere. Like even when we're in the car, I don't know, something we see, we're in traffic, and then the other guy was trying to get him, and then you were telling him, hey, don't do this. Like, oh.
Yeah, he's trying to go around. Yeah,
and
I'm like, don't do that. Just sit in
Right.
traffic and just wait. There's no reason for you to get on the incoming traffic for you to go.
And he was like, oh, that's how we do it here.
No, that's how we do it here. But I'm like, that's not right. Like, and don't do it while I'm in the car. That's another thing. So, yeah. I don't know. It's just I really want to see what everyone thinks about this topic. I think the more comments we have, you know, it'll just get the conversation going, and us getting the conversation going is the key to make some real changes.
Progress,
yeah, so just comment below, let us know what you think. Is community more important than building a nice fancy house with a pool and everything
just by yourself in your own area?
Yeah.
As far as, you know, or people should just come together and focus on building a nice community, which there is something going there in Liberia right now, one of which is Atlanta Estate, which most of you guys have probably already seen on different social media forums and stuff like that. That's going to be our next video. We're going to go deep into detail as far as the whole idea, what it's going to be in the future, the whole process of acquiring something like that, you know, and get into it, man. But that's just something we talked about. That's something that came across our mind as we saw that forum on social media. But also we've talked about what we've experienced in the country itself. So is community better than building? Building just meaning like individual, right? Doing your own individual project as compared to coming together and building a community that will have a standards and everything that will, you know, benefits everybody as far as ease of access, property values and stuff like that. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right,
guys, man. Thank you for watching. You know, subscribe
to the channel.
Yes, sir.
Leave those comments below. It's really important for us to keep this dialogue going. And thank you for watching. And again, thank you for all the support. It means a lot.
Hit that notification button right down there.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
All right.